Welcome to Live Better Longer. I'm your host, Bill Horton. Today I have a very special guest, Jonathan Coppersmith. Jonathan is the president of VestaEdge. He has over 20 years of experience as an entrepreneur, business owner, manager, network engineer, software programmer, technology writer, and consultant. Jonathan, welcome to Live Better Longer.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Jonathan, let's talk about the biggest problems that are facing retirees today.
Okay, it's not just retirees. It's people in their 50s, in their 40s, people who are planning for retirement, people like myself. And I think some of the obvious worries, the ones that we hear, we talk to a lot of people in our business. They are worried: do they have enough? Do they have enough saved? How long will that money last? There are a lot of what-if questions that I know people have, and that different firms claim to be able to help them with. What if they sell their house in 5 years or 10 years? What if they want to make a gift to a grandchild? How does that impact their overall savings? Does that shorten the amount of time that they will have money to spend in retirement? People are living longer, so the question is not the same as it used to be. If people live into their 90s or even past 100, 80s, 90s, will they have enough? And I think there's a psychological component to this too. I've gone through this even though I'm not in retirement myself. My daughter started college recently. We've been saving since she was born, and I've watched that number go up and up and up for 18 years, and then I had to make my first payment. So even though I know I planned well, that first payment and watching it go down by tens of thousands of dollars is just, it's psychologically, it was disturbing, it's upsetting. I think people, even though they plan well, when you start having to withdraw in retirement and you stop earning, you stop increasing that number, and that number starts to go down, I think a lot of people panic. They start to worry even more.
Well, people don't know how long they're going to live, and there's lots of rules of thumb, and there's companies out there that are providing some technology and all that.
Right.
So, I mean, there are solutions out there, aren't there? Aren't there companies doing things?
Yeah, there are solutions. There are companies that specialize in certain aspects. So I've seen commercials, I've seen articles for how do we minimize taxes, for example, or how do we maximize your Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you don't look at the picture, the whole picture, you don't look at it holistically, why would you want to minimize your taxes if you would end up with more money or have more money to spend? Usually more money means higher taxes. It's not always the best solution to minimize taxes in a vacuum. Same thing with Social Security. If you had more money to spend but got slightly less in Social Security but got more in other ways through tax savings, through different rates of return, then why would you want to maximize Social Security at the expense of something else?
So you hear about Monte Carlo simulations, and I know I call it the Monte Carlo meter, where you've got red, yellow, and green,
Yeah.
and everybody wants it to be in the green.
Right.
And then you've got the Bill Bengen 4% rule that's now maybe the 3% rule that
Right.
everybody talks about.
Right.
None of those really provide an accurate picture, do they?
No, again, it's not a holistic approach. So why would you want to limit yourself to 4% of your overall savings, whatever the number might be? People have people know how much they need to spend or how much they want to spend in retirement. You shouldn't be limited by that, or at least you should start with what you hope and what you expect to have in retirement. And Monte Carlo only gives you it's a risk analysis. It tells you what are your chances of running out of money.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't solve the problem of meeting your lifestyle needs, meeting your expenses,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not holistic approaches as well.
So Jonathan, you're a young guy. You're not ready for retirement. So how did you get involved with this?
It's a good question. I get it all the time. My father was planning his own retirement about 10 years ago when he started, and he's a statistician. He taught statistics at Rider University. He had his own company called Health Products Research, where they did research into safety, and again, as a statistician and market research forecaster, this was his field. So when he was retiring, he went to a number of financial institutions, and they told him, they asked him all the usual questions, and they gave him this very slick, glossy 50, 75-page report, and it didn't really tell him much. And he came away feeling, and this was from a number of different big, well-known institutions, and he said, you didn't ask me the right questions, and I don't understand how this is going to help me in retirement. It tells me I have a 10 or 15% chance that I won't run out of money, but it doesn't answer any of my questions, and I don't have any more peace of mind. Mm-hmm. So basically, he started coding his own program to do this, and so that's how he got started. He said when he went back to these same financial companies, he said, my results show twice as much in retirement than you showed me. And we thought that was something we need to look into.
I'll look forward to talking a little bit more about that, but right now we have to take a break for a word from our sponsors. We'll be back in a moment with more Live Better Longer. Welcome back to Live Better Longer. I'm your host, Bill Borton. I'm here this week with Jonathan Coppersmith, president and co-founder of VestaEdge. Jonathan, in our last segment, we talked about the problems facing retiree. When I looked at your website, it says VestaEdge was founded on a need in the financial planning space that an optimized asset decumulation. Tell us about that.
So asset decumulation, that's a fancy way of saying where are you going to withdraw your money from. So now you've built your money your entire life, now you have to start taking it out. So we built essentially a better system based on my father's research as a statistician, and a lot of peer-reviewed publications and journals. We use mathematical optimization, linear programming, to determine the best withdrawal plan for your money. And that's something that a lot of people don't think about. So even if you know how much money you can spend or you need to spend in retirement, where exactly is that going to come from? Does it come from your taxable savings accounts first? Does it come from your tax deferred? Where do you withdraw that money? That's a huge factor in making your money last longer.
Well, for years they've always been saying take the taxable first,
that's a rule of thumb.
Tax deferred last, but then you hit 70 and you have your RMDs,
right? Pushes
you into a higher tax bracket.
Absolutely.
That doesn't work.
No, and so sometimes it's counterintuitive. So the rules of thumb that people use, which account to use first, 4%, et cetera, just a Monte Carlo, all the rules of thumb don't necessarily give you the best plan, which is why in my father's retirement, he had twice as much as they said he would have in retirement. So just where you would take the money, where you would draw the money from is crucial in making that last longer. And we've developed a system similar to GPS. That's the analogy that I like to use. So when you use a GPS program, you have point A, you've got point B, and it in seconds calculates the fastest way. And you can use the calculation in different ways. You can minimize time. You can minimize the distance. You can do all kinds of things.
Avoid tolls.
Right. Exactly. So once you know have those 2 points. In our case, it's the point A is where you are now, and point B could be 30 years down the road, 40 years down. So we've developed a similar type of system, but again, ours uses a slightly different methodology to get you from point A to point B, and specifically to maximize your money to make it last the absolute longest. It's mathematically proven to do that. And sometimes the results are counterintuitive to the human intelligence, to rules of thumb, and so on.
So other than your father's situation personally, how do you know it works?
Well, he did a lot of academic research. So once he hit on this idea, he got together with his friends who were, and colleagues who were CPAs, CFPs, and RIAs. They did a lot of research together, and they published a number of papers, academic papers. So in 2011 and 2012, they had 2 separate papers published in the Journal of Financial Planning, which get quoted all the time, and they had reviews by Kiplinger's and by MarketWatch, which is the Wall Street Journal. And then most recently, there was a paper in this year, 2017, in the Journal of Personal Finance. And that research gets quoted all the time. Research included things like the impact of Roth conversions on total wealth, the timing of Roth conversions.
I've been hearing a lot more about Roths lately in the press, and doing the conversions when you still have tax deductions, as opposed to waiting until you're already retired.
One of the biggest problems in this whole space is that there are too many variables. So do you take out more money than you need now to reduce RMDs later? Do you convert to a Roth now, pay the taxes, and then how many years will it take for you to make back that money so that you end up with more money in the end. So if you pay taxes now, maybe it takes you 5 or 10 years to make back the money that you paid in taxes now.
So there's a lot of details.
Tremendous number of details.
And the details can be overwhelming.
Absolutely.
And so the software cuts through all that.
Right.
So understanding how it works, but what kind of results can people expect?
The timing, as we just mentioned, the timing and impact of Roth conversions, the impact of what-if decisions, what if you sold your house, what if you gave a gift to a child or a grandchild, understanding the strategy of where the money comes from. So if you know that you'll be using money from this account but not this account, you can reinvest that money, you can be more aggressive with the money that you're not going to use, you can rebalance your portfolio. It's meant to be scenario driven, so you run one solution, you see what the impact is, and then you can build on it from there with better investment strategies and so on.
So this isn't something you do one time?
No, this is something that you can go back to over and over again. In other words, it gives you a strategy. It's best used in conjunction with a financial planner. Mm-hmm. So there's human intelligence as well. It's not a Robo on its own.
Yeah, it's not like do-it-yourself tax software.
No, it's a very sophisticated tool that financial planners can use to give them the information that they can't do by hand.
So does this replace other software that financial advisors and financial planners use already, or?
It doesn't. It could. We have a number of financial planners and advisors using it now on its own, or in conjunction with other software packages. So you can use the results that you get from our package to inform what they do with any other package that's out there in terms of the timing of Roth conversions. Again, the impact, the amount. So they can run as many scenarios as they want, and then feed that into, again, by itself, or feed that into some other type of program.
Again, results though. I mean, if somebody is expecting that maybe they can, retire on, a certain number of thousands of dollars a month, and then an advisor who's using the software sits down with them and puts in all the data, and then runs the different scenarios very quickly. Mm-hmm. What kinds of improvements over what they thought might somebody actually get?
Well, again, because we use this mathematical optimization, it's very realistic. Mm-hmm. So you can get a very realistic picture of where that money is coming from, where it's going to be, and how you can spend that in 5 years and 10 years down the road to give gifts. I just think the results, again, it's a holistic approach, and much more realistic. So the scenario generation, I think, is crucial to the feedback loop, as we call it.
Sounds like people probably walk away from those meetings with their advisors feeling a lot more comfortable.
Absolutely, and it gives the advisor a lot more confidence as well. So.
Well, we're going to take another break for a word from our sponsors. We'll come back with Jonathan Coppersmith from VestaEdge to talk about what's next.
Expect from a car insurance company at a price that's less than you'd expect. This is more than just insurance. This is Plymouth Rock Assurance. Visit us at PlymouthRock.com.
Welcome back to Live Better Longer. I'm your host, Bill Borton. My guest this week again is Jonathan Coppersmith, president and co-founder of VestaEdge. So Jonathan, we've been talking about this incredible new technology that people who are contemplating retirement can use to basically increase or optimize the income that they can receive in retirement.
To maximize.
Maximize
their money.
So how can people who are watching this take advantage of, or how can they benefit from this software?
Well, we have, there are RIAs.
An RIA is a registered investment
advisor
okay.
who are using the software right now, some by on its own and some in conjunction with other financial planning packages. So we would be happy to put anyone who's interested in touch directly with an advisor. As I said, it's best used in conjunction with someone who has the human intelligence, mm-hmm. who has the experience to interpret maybe, as I mentioned, some of the counterintuitive mm-hmm. results, and to really and make an investment strategy, which is not something that our software does, but mm-hmm. that's in conjunction with the decumulation, mm-hmm. with the withdrawal plan. So we'd be happy to put anyone in touch with an advisor. It's been great for advisors because they not only does it maximize their clients' money, but it gives them more money in their own practice to manage, to invest. It gives them a huge competitive advantage over their clients.
This is not because you do anything about improving the investment return.
No, this has nothing to do with the investment side.
Mm-hmm.
This is only the withdrawals. This is only decumulation. So just by the way that you take out your money, and again, going back to the idea that there are so many variables, there are so many factors to consider when taking out your money. So each account has a different rate of return. Mm-hmm. Each account has a different tax implication. Some are taxable, some are tax-free, some are tax-deferred. How do you know what the best order to withdraw might be? That's a tremendous problem that people can't always do by hand, especially considering that there are required minimum distributions down the line. Mm-hmm. You might have to take out more than you need now in order to pay less in these RMDs later and to be in a lower tax bracket later. So a lot of that is too complicated to do by hand or unless you use a program like this.
So someone who seeks out and works with a registered investment advisor who's using the Vesta software would probably want to consult with them at least once, maybe twice a year, or whenever anything significant changes.
Absolutely.
Because then the data gets fed back into the software.
Correct.
You know, seconds later you have all the additional possibilities, and then the advisor and the client can select which pathway is the best for the next phase.
Absolutely. So the more information that you can give an advisor, the more that you work with your advisor, you can make the best plan for you.
What's next for VestaEdge? What are you doing now at this point?
Well, now we're actually looking to raise money. We're looking to raise about $500,000 to improve the software. We have a very powerful version out there right now, but it doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles that the slick-looking marketing and packaging.
It's not elegant.
It's the way that other packages do. Even though that our core and our engine is a lot more sophisticated than what's out there, we could use better reporting. We want to have an importing and exporting capability. We want to be able to offer the same types of reports that the large companies can give.
So you know where you want to go, and you know what it's going to take.
Absolutely.
You just need some folks that recognize the value. Maybe some investors, angel investors from the fintech space.
Absolutely.
And they can dig deep.
Yeah. We want to grow the company a little bit. We want to build the next generation. As I said, more in-depth reporting, more automation. There are a number, as I mentioned, it's very scenario-driven. So we can actually automate a lot of those scenarios and give a much more in-depth reporting right away. And more intelligence. We can start to build in artificial intelligence. We have a lot more that we want to build algorithmically that we know how to do. We just need some developers, some programmers, and obviously some market. We want to get the word out. We think what we have is more powerful. It's certainly better results than anything that's out there. We see results of 30% or more is not uncommon that people see in the portfolio.
I know a couple of my clients have taken advantage of the software, working with one of the registered investment advisors that is using it. Right. And everybody's excited. This really has potential to be a game changer for the entire industry.
Absolutely, and everyone we show it to is very excited. They see the product, they see the results, they say, why isn't the rest of the industry using optimization, using this maximization? Other industries use it. Shipping, routing, UPS uses it, FedEx. So why not the financial industry, to make people's money, to maximize people's money, to make it last the absolute longest? So if we could just, again, raise what I consider to be a little bit of first round fundraising, I think it can make a huge difference to getting this product out there.
So the way I see it, there's basically three kinds of people that might want to get in touch with you. One might be a baby boomer or somebody who's thinking about retirement,
right,
that wants to maximize their experience, their financial income in retirement. Secondarily, there might be a registered investment advisor who's looking to get some of both the defensive and offensive advantages for their firm that the software could bring. And then, of course, third, there might again be an angel investor or two in the fintech space that might see that this is something they want to know more about. So how do they reach you?
Well, they can always learn more about us and contact us through our website,
which is
VestaEdge.com. VestaEdge, VestaEdge.com. Or they can contact me at J. Coppersmith, it's my first initial, J. Coppersmith at VestaEdge.com.
That's easy.
Easy enough. You
Yeah.
can contact us anytime. And any individuals or baby boomers that want to be put in touch with advisors, we have advisors that are currently using the software. I'd be happy to connect you. And anyone else, I'd be very, very happy to field questions, to give product demos, to talk about potential investments. Yeah, we're open to it all.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, again, this is really, truly game-changing software, and I'm excited about it, and I'm really happy that I've been able to get Jonathan on the show. So just understand that investors can't control the markets, but they can control the way that the money that they have been working to accumulate with their advisors for however many years it's been, how that money comes out and how it's taxed, and how they can extend the life of their assets and improve the quality of their retirement income so that they can live better longer. So you can also reach Jonathan through me if for any other reason you haven't been able to find him. But again, I'm your host, Bill Borton. This has been Live Better Longer. Again, thanks, Jonathan, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So,
appreciate it.
Tune in again next Tuesday at 11 for another episode of RVN TV.